think what's so interesting, especially with TikTok, is a lot of people suddenly find themselves with an audience and then have to figure out the monetization. I think a lot of people aren't necessarily going into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money.
How does a person answer why something happens?
When you look at the findings in different fields,
scant is the part of life in which we live.
To attain the highest value.
So for those out there who don't know anything about this, what is the creator economy?
Yeah, so at a super basic level, it's this relatively new model where people with an online following can make money from their audience and their fans. And usually there's some sort of kind of commerce or purchasing aspect to that. So you're influencing your audience to travel to a certain hotel or to fly Delta or to buy this makeup brush or to subscribe to your newsletter. So there's definitely a commerce element. I think that maybe will shift a little bit, especially now as social networks are rolling out more ways to monetize directly. So on YouTube, for example, for a long time, you've been able to make ad revenue, and some creators really like that model. I think they found that it doesn't always sustain, their full income. But, a few years ago, we mostly associated the word creator or influencer with YouTube and Instagram. And I think that's changed a lot. And I think they've become interchangeable. It's not like you're an Instagram influencer anymore. It's the word creator kind of encompasses so many people. It's independent journalists on Substack. It's, a VC hosting a podcast. It's, a chef on TikTok. So I think the word has kind of encompassed more and more people. It's independent musicians. I think it's gone beyond kind of the typical social media star that you would think about.
Yeah. One question that I do see pop up a lot, are creators really just entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of these creators are building the next generation of media companies. They're absolutely entrepreneurs, and I think that's become more recognized and known than in the past few years.
But it's a subset of entrepreneurs, though. Like, it's not right. Like, what makes them? I guess what makes them different? Where's the nuance here in terms of the traditional sense of entrepreneur starting a business?
I guess because it's starting on social, but you see lots of creators then launch product lines. So Katie Storino is an example, who is an Instagram influencer, and she started this company Mega Babe, and she sells all sorts of kind of skincare type products, and that's become a business and a brand in itself. So I don't think maybe the way they start is a little bit different, but I think they're no different than any other entrepreneur.
Yeah. So in terms of like getting started on this, how are creators thinking about building an audience versus monetizing the audience? What's that balance look like?
I think what's so interesting, especially with TikTok, is a lot of people suddenly find themselves with an audience and then have to figure out the monetization. I think a lot of people aren't necessarily going into this thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a ton of money. Especially with TikTok, they're just kind of, especially during the pandemic, people were just making TikToks for fun. And then we're like, wait a second, I can turn this into a business. I think for a long time, the main way to do this is through sponsored posts. There wasn't a way outside of YouTube to make money directly. So this kind of cottage ecosystem of sponsored content and advertising became the default bread and butter way to make money. And I think that's still true today. I mean, you have creators who have branched out and have diversified in a lot of ways. We're seeing creators teach online courses. We're seeing them make money through advertising on podcasts. We're seeing them launch merchandise lines. So I think there's a lot of variety, but one recent study from NearReach showed that 80% of creators rely on sponsored content as a major revenue source.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And from what I understand about that as well, there's a lot of confusion is not the right word, a lot of demystifying that can still happen in that space in terms of empowering creators to negotiate with sponsors, right? That model is still very much in favor of the sponsor who's traditionally dealt with big media. Anything you're seeing in that space in terms of creators getting more power over that dynamic?
Yeah, I think that's where managers can really come in, or working with an influencer marketing agency can really help. But yeah, it's hard to know what your worth is. I mean, this economy is built up of millions of individual creators, and it's hard. It's already taboo to talk about your earnings in any industry, right? But especially as a creator, I think, and some brands do try to take advantage and say, oh, I'll send you this free product instead of, compensating creators. I think that's changing though, and I think managers can really step in and help with that. But yeah, it's a challenge for sure.
Yeah.